Scornful Egotist is a 1/1 for 7 and a blue wizard with the ability Morph, meaning you can play it for 3 generic mana face down on the battlefield as a 2/2, and then you can pay 1 blue and flip it face up. In the context of the set in which this came out, which was Scourge, there was a draft archetype that was themed around mana value, or converted mana cost as it was called at the time, where the goal was you would get additional benefits by having large things online. Cards like Accelerated Mutation or Rush of Knowledge. If you had a large, powerful body on the battlefield, you would be able to get incredibly powerful effects off of these spells because they keyed off of the highest converted mana cost of things you own. In the case of Scornful Egotist, you were able to get a mana value of 8 onto the battlefield for as little as 4 total mana investment. So this is a way to cheat in kind of a super kicker for those spells. So if you're doing that kind of an archetype, you can obviously get more than 4 mana worth of advantage off of this creature. Additionally, this is a morph creature that existed within a morph set. If you have ever played a morph set, you understand that part of the joy of playing with morph, or part of the frustration and angst that comes with playing with morph, is the guessing game that it puts players in, especially during combat. You have incredibly large creatures like the Krosan Cloud Scraper that if that thing is engaged in combat, you need to take notice and be afraid. Meanwhile, Scornful Egotist, not so much. And then you have cards like Willbender that can turn face up to good effect, but in combat, it's negligible. And so if you're playing a Simic morph deck, for example, in this case, if you're attacking with multiple morph creatures, your opponent is left with a guessing game where they have literally no knowledge about what is important to block versus what isn't. If they put a blocker in front of the Scornful Egotist, you simply don't turn it face up, whereas if they put a blocker in front of a, say, Titanic Bulvox, you flip that thing and deal a whole bunch of trample damage to their face, and it feels great. So that kind of shell game, that guessing game, only works if there are misses. If every single morph creature was a large, powerful monster, you would just simply block all of them, and that's that. There are a number of other morph cards that they've come out with over the years that have other effects when they deal combat damage to a player, or if they are dealt damage. Things like Broodhatch Nantuko come to mind as one that you definitely do not want to block with a large creature. But because it has morph, you can force a player into an awkward position where they don't know they're blocking it until it's too late. So, Scornful Egotist being a miss in that context, while providing utility in another context, makes it somewhat useful. Because of how fringe that archetype of CMC matters is, Scornful Egotist has not aged well, and the utility that the designers were trying to key in on there has become not unusable necessarily, but very, very, very niche and generally underappreciated, to the point where running cards that allow you to cheat in large mana value later is just not particularly good. Additionally, this existed in a world prior to Affinity and other cost reduction spells becoming commonplace and very, very, I don't know, ubiquitous, I think is an appropriate word for it. Because we live in a world right now where putting out an 8-drop that in fact only cost you 2 to play, or even for free, is not that hard. And so this is filling a niche that has been filled significantly better by other options. So, Scornful Egotist, it's a really interesting card. I have a soft spot for it because it came out in my very first set, and I remember opening it thinking, man, I gotta find a use for this thing. And then seeing my Accelerated Mutations, and be like, ho ho ho. And that one time it worked, man, it was great. But I assure you it was only one time. So thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps feed the algorithm. And let people know what we're doing here. I have been neglecting my YouTube channel in general over the last couple of months in favor of my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/hamhawks42. I'd love to see you over there. And I'm hoping to post more here. So I'm looking forward to talking with you more then, whenever that may be. And I'll catch you in the next one, everybody. Later.